what we've done last year is we created this mess for strategy forums, 12 pages, and you wrote it out, or you printed it out, and you wrote in your request, and then you gave it to somebody, most likely your supervisor, or those of you who are seasoned veterans here, you gave it straight to the president, and he signed off on it, and it went around everyone to get funded. But we've digitized the strategy form process. We didn't take the same form and make it look the same. What we did was we started with a brand new digital form, took all the elements that we needed from the strategy request, started the digitizing process, and then we had conversations. And part of the conversation was, it's really not a strategy to request something that you're looking for operations, or you're looking for something to upgrade. It's more of a resource request. And so now, the name is now changed. It's a resource request, not a strategy request. Strategies are tied to your program reviews, track debt, and all kinds of other things. Those are more strategic. These are resources. So I'm going to get started. The resource form is located in the SPOBDC site on Inside. So you'll find that by clicking on Inside, ivc.edu, link off the home page. All right, and on Inside, you'll go to committees, task forces, senates, yada, yada, yada. And you're going to click on SPOBDC right here. And when you click on that, the resource form is here located on the left. It's small for now, but eventually we'll make it a little bit bigger, and this whole screen will look a little bit nicer. But this is the resource form. So you'll click on this to get started on the process. And right now, I'm looking at my resources, my resource request. The default view is set to my documents. So I'm only going to see what's assigned to me. For visibility, people say transparency, but for visibility into the system, you can look at what anyone's created by clicking on all documents. And that'll give you the entire list of who has submitted what. So if you're wondering, did Daryl Cox submit his request for power phase contract upgrade? Well, there it is. And now you don't have to go create that particular strategy form if you were going to do something that people might create one for your department.
Where'd you find all documents?
Right here.
Yeah, I was going to say, like he has a resource form that opened on his, mine doesn't show.
So the default view is my documents, and I've already submitted one, or I've got one right now. But you can go look at all of them that are there, and we built different views. So if you look at this list here, as this thing matures and people submit all their strategy forms, you can look at all the ones that are for facilities. You can look at all the ones that are for technology. You can look at the ones that are assigned to different committees for TAFT, SPOBDC, PEC. Which ones are personnel? So we built all these views to filter out for you. So now you don't need to go sift through paper or send emails. Just come to this site and you should be able to find your strategy. The ones that are assigned to you, they will tell you up in here where they're assigned to, who the current approver is if it's waiting for someone. Since mine is in draft already, the one I've got as a sample is draft already. It's not assigned to anyone, it's not assigned to a committee, and it's not been ranked or anything like that. As things move through the process, these things will fill in. So let's just go ahead and get started with creating a new one. You'll click on Add Document. And when you click on Add Document, you'll see the form here. It's already pulled up. It knows who you are because on the inside you have to log in. We don't let just anonymous people log into it. Gives me my title, my department, today's date of what it is, or today's date for creating the form, and the fiscal year. The fiscal year is this coming fiscal year of 13-14. When 14-15 comes around, we'll change the default view to 14-15 for you, and so on. First thing I'll start with the title. Somebody give me something they want to order. A scanner. Okay, see, it's a widget. Okay, so this scanner, I already know, I'm going to type in my scanner. I'm going to type in that I want a Xerox, or I want a flatbed scanner, or what about the one for the library?
I can't remember what.
Oh, it was a books to go or something like that. books to go scanner. Tab, when I click out of this title, if you notice up here at the top, it has created the fiscal year that you're submitting the resource request for, a unique number, and then the title that you gave here. So that way you can always find it and we can sort by it and things like that. If you want to CC anyone on it, so for Cheryl, you may want to CC your chair, or if you are the chair, not CC anybody. But if you're writing something and you have a manager, don't worry, the manager will get involved. You don't need to CC the manager. He's part of another process. This is where you would CC somebody you want to know, hey, I already submitted the strategy. A department chair, like I said, or you may want to CC someone from another department to let them know that you've requested. What if it's something for a room and the room is being used by multiple people? So include people on your request so that way they're aware that you submitted it. You can put as many as you want. Just put a semicolon after it and keep adding email addresses. When you submit it, everyone will get an email. So I'm not going to CC anyone, or I could. I'll do Diane. Well, I don't know Diane's name. Or I don't know Diane's last name. I'm going to type in Diane. I'm going to click on the little address book, and I'm going to search for Diane. And it's going to give me all the Dianes, and wow, there are. Okay, there she is. I'm going to add her, and I'm going to click OK, and it fills it in for me. And it already puts in the semicolon, so you can add another one and another one. What type of request this is? So this is part of the library. Could it go for BSI funding? Could it go for Perkins funding? Could it go for general? Is it instructional equipment? You can select all of them if you want and let it go down its merry path. The problem that we had last year and why you have these checkboxes is you would submit a scanner and you would send it down the general fund path, and then last year you would submit the scanner and you would go for Perkins Fund, and we had multiple requests for the same exact item, and it caused a lot of confusion. We had over 99 strategy forms last year when there probably should have been maybe 30 or 40, right? So select which funding source you want it to go for. If you want it to go for general, select general, Perkins. But if you don't know what Perkins is, click on Perkins, and it'll open up a new tab for you. And it'll tell you what Perkins can do. And we're linked out to what the Perkins people are using as their guideline. So when they change this document, it will change in their form. If you want to go for BSI, select BSI. Click on the BSI link if you want to learn more about what BSI does and doesn't do. Yes?
I may be jumping ahead, but if we have the same request every year, can we open the one from last, copy and paste it?
No, right now, we're not going to, right now it doesn't have the ability to open last year's because there are a bunch of papers somewhere. We will create a cloning process next year, but we'll strip out fiscal year, we'll strip out the dollar amount, and we'll strip out some pieces because maybe the price changed. Maybe the description didn't change though, but the justification may change, right? So we will work on a cloning process, but for this year, there's no way to move anything from last year to this year. You'll have to type it in. All right, so if you have another funding source, if you know that the foundation you want the foundation to pay for it, you would select other, and then the box opens up and you would type in foundation, right? And then I'm going to type in a description for the scanner. Students are wanting to scan books in the library. I suggest you fill in a lot more information than my sample here. And it's a technology item. So once you've typed in a good description of what it is you're looking for, you'll select what it is. If it's a chalkboard or a whiteboard, if it's a whiteboard, you would select facilities. If it's something that for a scanner and you need a desk to go with it, so you're looking for the scanner, but you're also needing something to set it on, you would select both technology and facilities. The only one that it stands alone, no matter what, is personnel. That has its own process, and once you select personnel, the other boxes are grayed out. So personnel, and I'll cover this for you in a few minutes, but for now, I'm going to select technology, and now I'm going to try to tie it to my academic unit review or my program review or college objective or district objective. So you'll select down here at the bottom, we'll do college-wide objective. And looking at this list, you don't really know which objective. You may know that I want objective 4. But if you don't know the objectives, click here to open up the objectives, and it lists out, starting at the top with IVC college objectives, and you scroll down. Here are the IVC college goals. Keep going down to district-wide objectives and the district-wide goals. Yes?
Do they have the new IVC objectives in there?
When they update their file, this will get updated. We're pulling.
Okay, so as they're getting updated, as IVC is updating.
Yep. And if not, we'll make sure I see Rich writing. So I'm assuming that.
Yeah, because some of them picked up the 5% or the 10%.
Right, yeah. Today's updates aren't part of this yet until they finalize it. So it's technology. I'm going to tie it to college objective 4, but you can click here, click the little green plus, and it'll tell you what objective 4 is. And you look at it, that's not the objective I want 3. And it'll tell you what 3 is. You can keep adding objectives. So if you've tied it to a college objective and you know there's a district objective, just anything to help substantiate why that this is part of a goal or an objective on the campus that you're trying to meet. Go to district-wide, pick their objectives, and you can look at them here. Type in some verbiage as to how it attaches to those objectives. You can also add in here that you want to tie it to your academic unit review. In the future, this will be linked to track that. So based on who you are, we will be able to extrapolate all of the strategies that are tied to your department or your unit. And we'll be able to pull them down, and then you'll select from a list the ones that are for your department. If you don't see it, you need to go out there and create it. So that way you can submit it. So for now, I'm going to do academic unit review. I'll type in something so that way DeVete or the president can go in if they want to look at it and see how this does tie to your unit review inside track that. Type in some verbiage. This ties specifically to X objective that we wrote down. Once you've got the basics in here, because we don't want you to submit until you've done some due diligence with who you are, what it is, a brief description, the type of funding sources, and how it ties to a strategy. If you can't meet those minimums, don't move forward. So we've met those minimums, and now I'm going to click Next. And because I've selected only technology, the technology sheet shows up here. And just like last year, this part looks this looks almost like last year. What it is you're requesting, any additional supporting information now, you can attach quotes, where this is to be delivered, what room it's for. So we'll go through and build something real quick here. So this item requested is a scanner. I'm going to say Fujitsu. Now I might get into the actual model of it. What's the room number in library? 101. 101. LIB-101. Additional supporting information. This scanner has an ADF, automatic document feeder. Give some verbiage as to why you're picking this particular one, because maybe the expense may get questioned. Well, you may want to tie into the description why it's expensive. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of verbiage, but if I want to, I'll click here to attach a file. This, like I said, could be a quote. It could be a map. So if it's something to do with putting a whiteboard on the wall, you may want to include where you want it on the wall, things like that. So you can add multiple attachments to this. Just click on Add Attachment. And then I'm going to select here in the type. We've done equipment, supplies, software, installation, shipping, and consulting. And consulting would be if anyone's coming off campus to help you put this in. So for this one here, it's really just equipment, And I'm going to type in the description. Now I'm going to give the specific model number, or if I didn't give it up top, I will here. I'll do Fujitsu. I think I spelled it all wrong. SnapScan 1500. I want one of these here. Bless you. And they are $500 a piece. If you notice, it fills in all the items here. So you have your item cost, and you have your total cost is $540 because of tax. Where is tax? Oh, tax, listed out right here. I can keep adding more items. So for me, I'll go in and add a service. So what if this is feeding into a service? I'll do software, and this will be the books to go service. Or service being a subscription. I'm going to do 1 year, and this will be, let's just say it's $600 to use the service. Do I want maintenance on the service? I can click yes, I want maintenance. How many years do I want? How many years will I use this? Want this for? Well, I'm going to do 1 year of service, and for 1 year it costs me $60 to keep maintenance on it. So I'll get service and support for 1 year for $60. If you want to add maintenance to the actual hardware device, click yes to change maintenance. How many years you are wanting maintenance on the device? What we're trying to get is, what's the recurring cost? What does the campus need to pay for next year? If you don't add it in here, it's assumed it'll be a one-time cost. And then next year when you're looking for funding to keep the wheels on the bus, the money won't be there. I'm going to say 3 years, maintenance at $50 a piece. So it builds out all the different things for us to be able to look at it inside the Technology Advisory Committee. We know we have an equipment cost here, we have a software cost here, maintenance of all the total costs here, $210 is just for maintenance, and I have $38 or $88 in tax. We don't report on those numbers now. It's a big gap when you're trying to figure out what did we spend this year, what's our recurring costs. By doing all this work now, David can go in and look at and plan accordingly. And we will make sure that we adjust our budgets accordingly if there's a recurring cost and this is approved. If this gets denied, then budgets don't change. Now, since it's a scanner, I may want to go back in and add a table. I may have forgotten. I'll come back up here to facilities because facilities gives you the tables or they buy you the tables. If you change anything up here, just hit next. And now there's a facilities worksheet. And you'll type in what it is you're looking for. I'm looking for a desk, maybe the size of the desk. If you have a quote for what a desk costs or a platform or whatever it is you're looking for, much like the technology item, you'll add those items in here. Give as much information as you can. If there's another possible funding source, so for this here, for a facility, I might say take the desk out of this room here and move it down the hall. So there's no cost. But if they decide not to take the desk out of here, you still need to accommodate the cost. So what does a desk cost? What does it take? The alternative is take one from another room. Now, they may take one from another room whether you like it or not. So it's just things to consider. All right, so I've built my request. I know I'm moving pretty quick, but I've built my request. I've given it the items I want. I've tied it to my strategies. And now I want to move it forward to start the approval process. The approval process is, you don't know the approval process yet because right now, no one's been approved or denied their strategies yet. Anyone that submitted one last year, have you heard what happened to it last year? No. So this year, when we start this, actually, let me back up real quick. If you can come back to this, once you get past the first piece and you've done your track data, you've done the basic information, you can save as draft. So you can come back to it and finish filling this out now. You don't have to do this in one sitting. Since I'm the requester, I'm going to give some notes right now because me as a department manager, I may not be the one submitting the things for my department. But because we want to make sure that all managers are included into the approval process, me as the department manager is going to get this request right back because I'm the manager for technology and that's the department I'm in. You, if you're submitting one, it's going to go to your dean or your director and they will get a chance to sign off on this. So I'm going to add some comments. Normally this would go straight to Craig, but I'm not going to add comments here. I'm just going to leave it blank. Or actually I have to add something. Notice we don't say submit. We're going to start the approval process. And so now I can look at more of a completed list in my documents here for the ones that I've submitted. I've got my brand new one that I've done. Where it's in the middle, what's the process in? Well, it's processing. It's going to be, the current approver is back to me. And why? Because I'm the department manager. So I'm going to open up this. I've got an email in my inbox right now. Actually, since I report to Craig, Craig has an email now for this particular item here. But Craig's not going to do anything with it because we're going to, in the end, the way we're doing it this year, Craig's going to get an email from DeVete and say, between these dates, now process the ones that you want to process. So move forward the ones you're going to move forward or deny the ones you're going to deny. No more moving one today and 5 tomorrow or forgetting to move one. There's going to be a time frame that they have to move these things forward. So it can't stop with one person. So I, as a department manager, this is what Craig would see. Craig would get this and look at it and he's going to say, well, you know, it's not really connected to anything in Bruce's budget. And these are based on what SPOBDC has decided. The connectedness, if you want to know more about connectedness, you would click on connectedness and you have a ranking of 0 through 3. Not 1 through 4, but 0 through 3. You can click on what impact means. So if Craig's trying to figure out what is impact and how am I going to rank this, or budget evaluation, you can click on these links and pull up what those things are. So for me, I'm going to say, you know, it really doesn't connect to anything in my department because Cheryl's really sufficient here. I can click on what impact is and how they would justify. So if you're wondering why did they rank something low, go here and look, or if they rank something really high. It does have a high impact because there's a lot of students that could use the service. Budget evaluation planning, quite honestly, I don't even want to try to explain that one. This is something they want me to add. It's difficult to explain budget impact planning. Read up on it at nighttime if you want. I'm going to say 2, that it is impactful, it was planned, maybe. All right, so now I have 3 choices. As a manager, I can move forward, I can close it and come back, or I can deny it. So for me, we don't say approve anymore. That was suggested as something faux pas. We don't approve. We just move forward. So I'm going to move this forward. Now, if you notice, the current approver for my particular project, when I want to go in and look, it's assigned to Craig. It's assigned to the vice president. It's not assigned to his committee because he's my boss. He gets a chance to stop it before it gets into a committee. And where the average rank is. What's been done with it? So obviously Bruce didn't like his own suggestion, right? As Craig gets this, right now I'm going to look at this because I have rights. And now it's assigned to Craig, and Craig can look at it and see what were the transactions. Right now, Bruce submitted it with really good comments here, and he moved it forward on this date. And this was his rank. This was his ranking. So, and you too will have access to look at the transactions. Nothing's hidden. Everything's visible to you. Notice Craig hasn't done anything with it yet because he's still pending. So I'm going to go back to the form here. Yes.
So is anybody if you copied all of us in the chain and we wrote emails of your process, do any of us have the opportunity to comment to Craig to influence that?
Not within the form, no. You can only go and bend his ear or send him an email or and say, this is very important.
Does he see that all of us were?
Yeah, he gets the same form. So if you look up in here, he'll see that right now only Diane was on the CC list.
It just popped up on my iPhone.
Right. But if you also notice, even as Craig and even as me, it's all grayed out. I can't just go and change things.
But Craig could see that you emailed 37 people or whatever, and you wanted to do whatever, so all
Right.
37 of us.
You all be listed in there.
One to scan.
Yep. So when you click back on your form here, here's the overall connectedness ranking. Ranking actually hasn't been done yet because that gets into TAFT, Technology Advisory Task Force. We're going to look at all of these that come in for technology at one time. So we may say, you know what, this is number 1 on the list, this is number 5 on the list, and we will give it a ranking. When it gets to AFTPC, compared to facilities requests, compared to other strategy, other resource types of resource requests, they may say what I ranked as a 5 in technology is really a 7. Because overall, there's more things that they need done to the classroom or furniture or something like that. And so their ranking will adjust, they will rank it and put a number in on this. As it all gets done, this number will change to give you the overall where it sits into the priority process. So right now, Craig does not rank because he's just trying to tie it to track that. He's trying to tie it to the strategic process. Did this go through the right process, or is this something that wasn't planned for? You know, they don't need it to do business. They just want something. So for this here, Craig could say, you know what, connected wise, it's a 3. Impact wise, it's a 3 or 2. And for budget planning, they never budgeted, but he can move forward this process, and he'll move it forward, right? So now it's tied back to me, if you notice, once all the technology ones comes in here, and then it's tied to my committee or task force. And it's waiting for the task force to meet, and we will look at all the ones that are assigned to us to look at, and we will rank in one day. No more 3 on this day and talk about them, and then come back in a few weeks and talk about them, and then move some forward, and we're still waiting for AFTPC. If these things go as a package, you'll be kept in the loop. And as I move them forward, you're getting an email. So you'll get an email saying, hey, Craig just approved this, or moved it forward, and so on. The committee, we ranked it, it moved forward. Or you'll get the one that says, hey, it was denied. Any questions so far? Yes?
Is there an opportunity to revise? Like, let's say it goes on to the manager says, I don't think your budget is clear enough. Is that something where you can go in and change the form, or is it something where you have to sort of scrap it and make a whole new form?
No, we can help you. Rich has the ability to go back in. The programmer and webmaster have an ability to go back in and reopen the form. David, Craig, myself, and the rest of us, no, but yes, there is a way. Just let us know. If you need to go back in and change something after you submitted it, let us know, and we can help you.
Submitted it, then we have to see how to make changes.
Yes, we don't want to make it easy, right? We don't want things changing mid-process.
People to do it right the first time.
Yep. So when you save his draft and come back, and when you're ready to submit it, submit it. The dates for submitting these, April 5th is the new date. So it was March 15th, like next week, or this week, this Friday. So now it's April 5th to submit these. And unlike last year, yes?
I just wondered for the funding, can you check more than one?
Yes.
Check BSI in general?
Yep. Select all the ones that you think you can, because maybe BSI runs out of money, and so it'll shift to general fund. Or general fund says, absolutely not, we're not paying for that, it's a BSI thing, and DeVete will uncheck those boxes and send it down as Mary Path. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, April 5th. So the goal is to make sure that everyone sticks to the deadlines. Last year, for those of us that have to rank these and look at them and review them, it was a nightmare. I think it was May, and they had still extended the deadline till like last day of school. I want to make sure that we stick to the deadlines. 3 weeks from now is a long time to get these things in. DeVete's going to email out everyone now to let them know you were approved or you were denied. Because part of the holdup is, if you look at the entire list, there's like 12 things that have been submitted. said 16, but we've created some test ones that we go in and delete. So there's not a lot of things that have been submitted, and that's usually because people are waiting to figure out, well, did I get approved last year? I'm not want to create a brand new one if I'm going to get funding this year. So David's going to let everyone know where your strategy forms are from last year. I'm going to click back on this resource forum here. I'm going to look at, if I want to look at all the documents again, you can look through here and find out what's going on. So Desiree Ortiz, she's working on one right now. So please review this list before you start to submit one. Maybe someone already opened up one for you. If you know that they didn't and it's really on you to do, then go ahead and start one. But review the list. One of the questions that came up was, well, what if I don't want people to know about it until I submit it? While it's good, they can kind of keep it, they don't have to get a lot of people in an uproar. What's bad is the uproar is just going to wait till later. So we want to make sure that people submit their things. There's no hiding behind any kind of process. Once you start a draft, it's going to show up. Once you submit it, it's going to show up. There's complete visibility through the system, right? So we don't want to hide drafts. That was one of the questions that came up at the last one. So we want to make sure that even if it's a draft, people know, you know what, Bruce is doing the one for the scanner, I'll start the next one, right? And let's go back here. Like I said, you're going to get an email. It'll be a unique URL straight to your form, so you can track it at any times. If you want to print one, that was a question that came up. So what if you want to print this? Just open back up your form, and you can click on Print Preview, and then right-click and print. And that's how you would print it. Any other questions? Yes?
So I'm on personnel assessment worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give me more options than just classified hiring, but what if it's faculty?
Faculty is not part of this process. Not yet. It's a smoke and mirror process right now. I don't know what it is, but right now faculty hiring is outside this.
That's because it's limited and contractual.
And there's some things to work out. Classified bargaining is part of this. So if you're looking for a lab tech, sub, part-time help, that can come into here. But anything faculty, they have their own process for now. It will get put into here, but it's a little more complex than what we've done already.
So what if it's like a stipend for someone who's going to teach in a learning community? Should I just attach a document or something?
No, a stipend now is a little different. So it's not, you're not trying to hire a faculty person.
Right. No, it's an existing.
Okay. Close. Oh, darn it. Close. Yes. I'm just gonna start it.
Summer Services draft should be like that. She's trying to get money for training people, so that might be a similar, like she has a draft up there
Oh.
for training faculty and accelerated comp. I don't know how much she has on it, but I know that's a similar when she's seeking the stipend. So what she set up.
So she's tied it to some goals here. She's chosen the other worksheet because you're not hiring a person, it's not personnel. She's chosen other, and she's not given a cost yet. And so she's probably waiting to figure out what she can get as far as the stipend cost. But she's put in some numbers in here. If you look here on the board here, she's given some numbers. But she's saved it as draft. She hasn't given up if it's, actually for a stipend, it would be other for now. We haven't built the stipend process. There is a fund that Craig has for stipends, but I don't know the numbers, I don't know the amounts, and I don't think right now he wants that part of this process. It can be part of the strategy form, but as far as tying in stipend into the other account, not right now. But we could, when he's ready. The stipend came up and then the sub came up. So you could still go through, if you're looking for, close this. I'll run through the personnel one real fast here. Go ahead, what was your question?
I just had a question about the describe the proposed resource. Is that sort of where you're justifying the resource, like on the first page?
You're justifying, why you need this particular resource. So
The description on the first page is not a description of it, but a description of
Right. Why you're wanting to spend this money. The other one is why you need this particular device or this particular widget or this particular software. Why this one over another one, you know? So I've chosen personnel. I'm going to go through here. I'm not actually going to do an objective. We've built into the personnel piece already, into the worksheet, classified bargaining and classified management. Those are the two that have a workflow that's been approved to go into this particular form here. So if you're looking for a classified bargaining person, so a lab tech for your department, you would come over here to classified bargaining and you would type in, or you would select the position because it's, let's just say lab techs. Where are lab techs? We'll do physical science. Lab tech for physical science. We already know the cost. We know that it's 12 months. So the amount total that you would request to hire a full-time lab tech is $70,527. But what if you only need them for 10 months? Change this to 10, and now the cost goes down. But what if you need them 10 months and 20 hours a week? Cost goes down significantly, benefits are taken out, and other things like that. So now the cost is $21,000. So that's for classified bargaining. We built out that particular process. We haven't built out faculty yet and administrator. What if this is a new position? So you've looked through the HR process and you don't find your position out there, but you want to create a brand new one. You would click on new position, and now you would go in and select what is this new position? Well, it's a academic faculty person. And what is this new faculty person going to be called? What's this new job? So you would type in the job. You would give it a range for pay. But like I said, we haven't built out faculty, so you're not going to ever choose this. If I would choose bargaining, and I'm going to look for a brand new person called videographer or whatever I'll call it. No, I'll find somebody else, Vince. We'll call it lab geek. All right, I'm going to create a range. These are all proposals, so I might say that, you know what, this is a 130, and I need it for 12 months, 40 hours a year, 40 hours a week. And I may add in here why. I'll attach my file. So maybe I'll attach a job description. I'll attach maybe a competitor's job description or another school's job description when you're trying to create a brand new position. So, and much like the rest of it, because personnel stands on its own, you'll start the approval process. And that goes into a committee. Because it's classified bargaining, they have the triple dip committee, which is classified hiring, priority. There's like 4 more letters there. Geez. Something. That goes through its process, and then that committee meets, and they'll look at all the ones that are assigned to that committee, and they will rank them. And then that rank will go to PEC or SPOBDC. SPOBDC will look at it, they'll move it forward, it'll go to College Council, it'll get moved forward, and then it goes to PEC for final approval. Will it get funded? Will it not get funded? That's where the final decisions are made. So that's the personnel piece. We built out classified bargaining, we built out classified manager, but we haven't built out the other groups yet. And they all have their own workflow. Any questions? If you have questions about the form, something we missed, something that needs to be added, email us, email me, let me know. If you get stuck on where does this fit in, email me, let me know. We can work through the process. Devit, if you're wanting to know how connected is connected or whatever, talk to Devit. He's the one that thought of all that, so he'll have fun explaining it. All right, that's it for me. All right, you're welcome.